Hey everyone, Christian here from CK Wraps. We're going to do this rear quarter panel in satin red chrome on this 2016 Mustang. It does have quite a flare to it on the rear quarter panel. As always, I never recommend bridging the gap. We never bridge the gap if we don't have to. I always try to lay in. A lot of courses will teach you to bridge the gap. We don't have that option with chrome. It has to be laid in no matter what. So it's just something that I got used to, and it's a way that I like to go about my installations when I do any part of the car in any type of film. So we have the piece cut, everything's prepped. This is Vivid's new satin chrome, new version of that. You can only get that installed by us at the moment. You cannot buy it anywhere. It comes in many different colors if you're interested. And yeah, just let us know because we're here, we have it, and it's available. It looks much different in person than it does on the camera. For whatever reason, the camera always has issues capturing chrome properly because of the way it reflects light. But anyways, we'll get on to installing this. So we're going to start by removing the backing. Again, as always, peeling the sticker off and rolling the backing paper off. Try to keep it as uniform as possible. We've already cut out the doors and the side skirt from this film. So we need to just get it rolling here. Now you can do this with the trunk open or closed. It can give you a hinge to hinge it onto, but it can also kind of get in your way sometimes, so it depends on the trunk. I have it closed. And I'm just going to stick that down right there. I'm just continue to roll this as gently as I possibly can. Now the door is open, you might notice that because we're going to go into the door jamb a little bit. I've also removed the gas cap cover and I've masked off everything, which you'll see shortly, which is always good practice. On top of that, we've applied knifeless tape to the roof line since there isn't an actual drip sill trim piece that creates a nice gap to cut in. We don't have that, so that would mean that we would have to either cut on the paint or use knifeless tape. We're using knifeless tape because it's much safer. So let's get this off most of the way, but not all of the way. All right? Keep positioning the magnet back until we get to about here. As soon as it starts rolling off, I have a snitty actually. There we go. Okay, get that. I'm going to even get that out of the way. All right, I'm going to leave that little piece there with the backing paper on it because it's not imperative that I have it removed right now. It's not a big deal. All right, so the tough part with this is getting it into that recess and then coming out with the stretch. I've never done one of these in chrome, so this is the first. So we're going to do it the same way as I did the Camaro while we laid in the Nardo Gray. Very similar way. Now, there were a lot of stone chips up in this area right here. I'm guessing from the wheels getting kicked up. There's a few more around the back here. It's inevitable on a car that's this powerful. You're going to have a lot of fun with it, but nothing to worry about. Like I said in my other videos, there's always imperfections. So we need to position this in such a way that it's kind of glassed. So let's get this going here. We're over top of the roof, we're still good there. Everything's pretty much in the same position as when I started, when I removed the backing paper. Alright, I need to just kind of glass that out so I can see what's going on here. We have to keep squeezing this down and lifting it up. Now it's hard to do this by one person. With one person, I'm not going to say this is easy at all. If you have a hand, you have someone to help you hold this area over here, fantastic. But what I like to do is kind of just get it laid in there and just drape it in there the best that I can. And that This film is forgiving. Which makes it so nice to use. So we kind of just need to squeegee it. Get it in there. Keeping everything as even as possible, it's always important. All right, so we're looking pretty good right now. And we're starting to come down to the dip of the recess. What we're going to have to do is eventually start pulling it out, okay? I need to get this down a little bit over here first. Stuck there. You can see that I'm just rolling this film, all right? Being gentle. Eventually it's going to get hard to do with the squeegee because of the way the fender contours. But we're kind of over that edge there, and this is the hump. The edge gradually comes away from us, so it gets a little bit less and less as we work towards the front of the car. So let's just say we were to bridge this gap with the chrome. We would end up hazing and discoloring the film very easily. So we don't want that to happen. So we have to just work it in there, all right? I'm going really slowly here. Would probably help if I had a glove on this hand, but I don't like having a glove on my right hand. It just feels weird. Just keep it going at a little bit at a time, guys. Like, it's just patience. This is not a thing that you rush. Now, if we had a film that wasn't as delicate, it would be slightly easier. Just pop that up. So what we can do is take the film and cut it along here, all right? Let's finish that off. All right, this kind of helps us bring it and draw it across this way. Be careful while we have a cut like that, we can actually keep it running if you pull in the wrong direction. So just be mindful of that. You should be rounding off your cuts, but I don't, and by rounding off, I'll show you what I mean in a second. So by rounding off the cut, I mean we're going to take it, bring it around like so. So that way there's no way the film can run. So we're gonna end up bridging it slightly, but I'm just gonna get it going here, and then I'm gonna take the film, sorry, with the squeegee in my mouth again, get it going here, see, and just work it in. Use your fingers when you feel like you need to. Okay? That way, you work with whatever feels comfortable. Pull the film out this way, as you can see. I want to try to maintain glass here somehow. Since my hand is behind it, make sure your hands are clean, all right? Before you do stuff like that. So again, let's see if we can get some of that out. All right. I'm gonna get this out from the bottom. Perfect. If we contaminate the film, we have to either replace it or try to fix it. As I've shown in one other video, it can be fixed sometimes. But the main idea is that I'm not putting my hand to the floor. So if my hand doesn't touch anything, and it's fairly oil-free, which is mine are extremely dry, then we don't really have much to worry about. So you can see that I'm pulling up in this direction. I have to come back a little bit further. Okay. Just want to even that out. What I can do is I can come down from the top now and create a line right about here. Okay? So as I work that in over here, it kind of brings all this in. It's just learning how the film works, feeling it out. Keeping tension in the important areas. Obviously right here, there's a lot of fingering going on, so I need to keep tension right there, as you can see. That way we keep the wrinkles away. We can start finishing off over here. All right. Get this up and over the edge. Perfect. So it's a little messy here. We're going to fix all this right now. Hold it out because I see that it keeps wanting to stick back down right in that area. When we get it going, all right? All right, look at that, see? Now there's gonna be a hard edge here, so this air is probably gonna want to get trapped, so we're just going to be ready to lift it around the edge here. There we go. we go. Watch my technique when I'm spreading out the wrinkles. That's very important. Where I'm pulling with my hands right now, pulling in the back. All this stuff comes in really handy when you're learning how to wrap a car. Just going to use my finger because my squeegee is a bit risky in that recess. It's fine, there we go. So let's finish working out the rest of this. So we're looking good. Everything's pretty reasonable right now. I mean, that might not look good to you, but I'm going to show you how to work out of this. So we can start by, I'm going to come up a little bit here first, and then remove the rest of the backing paper. Let's get some of that air out of there. And let's round this off. We're going to work one direction and then the other. And the center should be fairly tight, all right? So like right around there should be fairly tight. It's going to get a bit of excess film, but right around here should be fairly tight, all right? I can't grab with that on there, so I'm going to remove it. You can watch how aggressive I can be with this film. I just have to get this down a little bit here. I do have my hand behind it. It's a bit challenging. I don't want to add heat. But heat would probably help a little bit in this situation. I'm going to just try to round this out. Right here. Now, I'm going to have to add a little bit of heat just in this area here. So basically we have our tension points, and where I'm pulling right here and here, and then pulling this way is not allowing me to get this. So I have to add a little bit of heat. And that should help me. Just enough to get it going. All right. Get that up there. Stick that to the window. I'll do all that after. Have to get this out right here. So I'm going to keep some tension right about here and get that going, all right? I'm going to add a little bit of heat right here because I can see it's going to be a problem if I don't. Let's get that down a little bit. Careful when you have a large bubble like that, just work it really slowly. There you go. Again, a little bit of heat right here. just fold it on itself. Okay, let's get this in here. I'm going to draw it in by drawing the film this way. Now we can kind of relax the film a little bit again and get the rest of this done. I'll worry about the fender in a moment. So there's no marks on this. Looks really good still. I'm trying to lash it out a little bit here and just speed things up. A little bit of heat again. Get rid of those. Get rid of those wrinkles. Put it back. And try to finish all this off. Alright, these are okay, these wrinkles right here, these fingers, because they're running this way. So we're going to go pop, get that air out of there, and run right towards the fender here. And take the film, we're going to heat it a little bit, even it all out. Spread it out and bring it down slowly. I'm not stretching it a lot, okay? There's not a lot of stretch there at all. So again, we're going to work all this. Shouldn't be too bad. There we go. What's really nice about this film is that the film itself has a lot of wrinkles and creases in it, but the chrome isn't creasing. Super resilient. If I was using other chromes, I probably would have been a little bit more careful, but this is taking a beating and I'm getting used to the way it works. Again, spread it out. Hold it. Use your arm again, that technique that I showed you like this. We're going to do that right now, in case you haven't seen it. All right. Get that. Get that. All right. And that helps get a lot more down all at once. Cool. We're going to work the back section here. We've got a bit of a recess right there, so I'm just going to lay it in right here while it's got some slack. All right. can come out from here, add a little bit of heat just to even it all out again. That section is all good. That's the hardest part of the whole thing, this whole area right here, all right? That's the hardest part. We're gonna finish off this area over here. Fix that back up. There we go. There's the edge of the window. Cool. Let's finish this off. So, go to that's just the masking tape. So we're going to contour this again around. And you know my style when I do this, I like to cut it kind of short and then contour it around. So you're going to see that and what I mean by that in a moment. When I cut this, I cut a little higher on here, so if I ran it straight, we're not quite covering this, but I can contour the film down, which is what I like to do anyways, because it makes it grab the pillar. So I can start contouring it right around here. All right, we're gonna hinge it. It doesn't recoil. You don't have to do it this way, I just like to do it this way, all right? Same deal. Hinge, I'm just gonna stick it to the fender, it's a little easier. This piece is so thin. There isn't much there. Perfect. Let's come back around here. Come around the top, and I can feel that it's really tighter on the top, which is good. It's kind of what I want. Well, it's not kind of what I want, it is what I want. Perfect. All the way around that. Come right down to the fender. Right there, all right? We're gonna get it right up to that fender. We're gonna cut it fairly close, but we're gonna leave a little excess so that we can tuck it in a little bit deeper. It is black, we're not covering yellow or white or orange, so it's not that imperative that we completely go way down in there. So here is the masked trim piece. I'm gonna glide my blade right along it. Let's get this piece out of the way so we can start tucking. So what I'm going to do is, I'm not gonna tuck around and tuck that trim piece. I'm gonna cut right on the edge. The reason being is that for some reason lately I've seen a lot of trim pieces shifting, and what happens is the vinyl starts to twist up in certain areas around the trim piece. I've seen it happen with any kind of brand, 3M, Avery, whatever. So it's kind of one of those things that if you go too deep and you tuck in really far and the edges are really tight and they're rubbing or there's friction, it's going to cause some shifting of the film. It's not anything that we would warranty in that sense. It's just the nature of the beast, it's the nature of the car. But what we want to do is try to prevent that from happening. So by cutting and trimming right on the edge, we can pretty much prevent that from happening. It is risky if we don't cut close enough to the edge that we're going to show the original color underneath. The only place I'll tuck it in is under here, because this piece, for whatever reason, I've never seen it shift on any car on the bottom, but around the top, around the pillar, it does shift. And I'm sure there's other installers out there who've noticed the same thing. I've seen it around headlights, vents on the hood, stuff like that. So it's super common. And it's just one of those things. Let's get down the rest of this. Also, the front and rear window, they don't have rubber trim that run down them. So we just got to tuck in as far as we can. We've masked off some of the windows so that we can easily slide the film off and down a little bit further in. So giving it a better illusion that it's been a paint job and not a vinyl wrap. That's the goal in the end, is to have people say, hey, nice paint job. All right, so I've masked the trunk right here. I double layered it because I am cutting on paint. And I'm still gliding my blade. I'm not really pressing hard at all. We just need to get it out of the way so we can start doing the window area. It's just all smeared from me. All right, so where do we go next? Let's do this area here. So that way I can draw the knifeless tape and get this piece all finished up. So I'm just working, I'm relaxing the film and working it in there. I have to make sure I overlap the knifeless on top of that. So I know I went in a little bit further to make sure I can overlap the black from what we're going to wrap the roof in. We're going to wrap it in matte metallic black and overlap the red nicely so that way we have a nice solid seam on the roof. So I don't hear anything bubbling as I go over it with my squeegee. Sounds very air free. Usually you can hear it. Okay. Double check it with my finger. And it all looks good. So there is our knifeless tape. Now I'm just wondering if I should do this first. I'm going to cut along the roof line right there where the window is. What I want to do is tuck this down a little bit before I draw the knifeless tape, because if I draw the knifeless tape too soon, it's going to leave this too short up top. So we're going to go and tuck this in here. Again, I can actually use the hard edge of my squeegee for this part, since it's not a very visible part and it's very small. So this is just a matter of bringing the film down until your squeegee stops, and then you cut it, and that's it. So right now I can draw the knifeless tape. Let's do that. Get this masking tape out of the way. I'm going to draw the string. All right, we know how to do this already, right guys? So your thumb on it. We're going to snap the string out of it. Not the whole thing like that. I have 2 chances. Always leave yourself enough slack on both sides, all right? So we'll get back to that because I don't want to do the front window yet. I'm going to trim this out of the way. I could still salvage this even here if I wanted to, but what you'll need is a pair of pliers which will help grab that, and then you can easily get the string out of there. I would like it if they made the string a little bit stronger, it would be nice, but it is what it is. So sometimes it does break. I've seen it, it's broken on me several times in the past. But you always gotta try to leave yourself open on both ends. All right, cool. So we're right down in there. We're in there deep. Going to run my blade on the window. And not too deep, all right? Because I don't want to cut into the paint. So I'm just back of the blade on the back of the window. You'll hear the sound of the window. I'm not cutting the window. It's not possible, really. And get that out of the way. Now we're covered deep, like way down in there, which is perfect. That is the idea. Perfect. We'll just get that out of the way. Now let's get the front going here. What I want to do is trim on the fender. So I trimmed on top of the fender right here. I'm going to kind of follow and see where it goes. I'll leave myself a little excess, that way I don't cut short. I'm going to tuck that right in there. And that's why we have the masking tape there, because it's just going to allow the film to slide off. And we can round all that out with our squeegee. So again, this is the same deal here. We're going to, exactly the same as the rear window, we're going to tuck it right in there. Get this rubber trim piece in my way right now, which is really kind of annoying, but I'll get it out of the way. I'm going to put a small overlap way down there. And get some of this film out of the way because I have too much. So again, we're going to loosen it. A little more challenging when we come up around the bend because of tension, obviously. So we're going to have to trim all this first. Looks like my squeegee has already cut it. So the force of me pushing down with my squeegee did cut the film, which is fine, because I'm pushing it right where I want it anyways. So as we come up around here, let's get rid of some slack. Don't need all that. Going to kind of draw this out this way. I don't want to move the knife knifeless tape. I just did a little bit. All right, so now I'm gonna draw, let's double check it again. Yeah, it looks good. So now I'm gonna draw the knifeless tape. This is the time. I'm gonna create a relief cut. Too much tension here. There we go. So now I have an easier piece to draw the string off of. Should pinch down on it where it meets the vinyl, and all right, we're good. So let's draw that out. Let's push down here to make sure that it's going to cut through evenly. Perfect, because it was a little bit short. And we're going to get rid of that. Get rid of the next couple of strings that are tucked underneath there. And we're going to go over it with our squeegee or finger, making sure that it's all sealed down and nice and tight. And it's nice and straight. It looks good. All right. So let's get the rest of this down in here. And I'll work my way around the rest of the edges. All right, so let's do all around these edges. Let's do the door jamb a little bit. We're only going in slightly. We're gonna need the heat gun for that, which is right there. I don't think I need my gloves, not yet. So we have tension here already, which is fine, which is totally cool, because it's kind of pulling itself in, as you can see. So we're gonna work this area kind of first, is what I like to do. And then gradually get all the rest of that stuff going in there, all right? So you can see that it's kind of overlapping. It's wanting to fold over itself. What you can do is you can put a little splice here if you're having a hard time with it. I'm just going to use my finger and work it in there a little bit at a time. This is an extremely sharp corner right here. It's going to be really hard to get in there and get the air out. I'm going to come back to it once I iron out the rest of this down here. Just going to stretch it out a little bit. We want to come up to the outer edge here. So not just the inner edge, but we want to come up to the next edge. Kind of right about there. I didn't use any knifeless tape this time because I'm just going to hold the film up and keep the blade away from the car, kind of like how I cut on the hood, underneath the hood and stuff like that. But I did in my other video do it with knifeless tape. So let's see if I can get that in there somehow. It's extremely tight curve. All right. It's looking good. Work our way out. There's a little bit of air right there, I see it. So I'm going to put my squeegee there, just in case I pull the film up too far. I only want to pull it up to the edge where my squeegee is, so I can use my squeegee to kind of block it. So again, like the scissor technique, like I'm cutting down. If you get a tiny little air bubble like I do there, that's all right. We can just pop that guy out. It's not the end of the world. Cool. All right, we're gonna work our way up to the top here. So one reason why I like to tuck in at the top here is because it allows me to get around this top corner a little bit better. All right, so what I'm going to do is trim off a little bit of this. That's what I always do. And then come around the corner a little bit. All right, and then you can lift it slightly, get some of that film underneath there, which makes it a little bit nicer when we come around this edge right here. You can kind of pull the film out and bring it across, all right? Whatever's excess, we'll just trim off afterwards. And then it gets a little tough up in there, but it's more so the rubber seal that's here is in the way. So I can actually see it right there. So that's good enough. We're going to make sure we're not going to cut into the paint. And we're going to keep the film elevated. And try to keep it as a straight line. Would have been easier to use a little knifeless tape, don't get me wrong. I just actually completely forgot. So. All right, let's get up to the top. That's all in there really nicely. Just trim that little bit off right there. Now we can shut the door after we trim off this bottom piece. So just, there's not really a way to end this because it can go all the way down. But we're gonna do the next piece with the side skirt and it's gonna be fully covered, so I'm not really worried about it. What I want to do is take this and then get it around this bend a little bit better here, all right? We're going to tuck all this in and then finish off this bottom edge. There's actually a really nice gap here on this car, so it's not that difficult to do. It's right in there. Perfect. Now we can close the door. Oh, it doesn't close anyways because the door handle's off, but that's just a safety feature. Let's do the, had my wrap glove on me. All right, so we're gonna do this fender area here right now. I'm gonna add a touch of heat. We're actually going to trim off a lot of this excess because I have way too much here. Let's get this snitty out of the way. So again, let's get that over there. We're just gonna go in with our finger, working it in a little bit at a time, all right? We don't have to go 10 miles up in there. We're just gonna cover it so that nothing's visible. And then we have a good amount still that's covering the inner lip, so that way you know, because water and stuff's gonna hit in there and everything. We don't want, you can see that it goes up in there. So about 1/4 of an inch or 1/2 an inch. Again, back of the blade on that edge. Super easy, it should just glide once you have the right spot. There's carpet in there, I was running into that. Again, we'll go over with some heat. That's good enough. Let's get over here. Quite finished off this area yet, which is, this part is totally perfect because I have a lot of slack here actually, so it's going to work really nice. We're going to have a lot of tension in here. I can actually just take care of it right now. And then we're going to go under here. When you're learning to wrap a car, there's always risk in cutting. So if you're worried about working on your own car, start with someone else's. No, I'm kidding. Just get something to wrap. I don't know, you can find anything to wrap, really. Doesn't have to be a car. A car is just desired because we're all into cars. But you can wrap whatever you want and get good at it. There are a lot of things out there that are a lot more difficult to wrap than a car. So find stuff. So let's come down here. What I want to do is alleviate this film off of the wrap a little bit if I can. I don't want it to stick and I need to open the trunk, all right? So the way I do this is I grab the key, which is right here. And I rest my hand on the trunk, all right? Just because I don't want it to fly up. I can control it now better. So now I can peel this back a little bit. All right? Without causing damage to the film. That's what you want to do. It's totally fine. Nothing peeled off. We're good. Now remember what I said about these corners here. We do a cut and a fold on a corner like this. It just makes a lot more sense. On a corner like this, we don't. So we do a nice teardrop, stretch around, pre-shrink it, and then cut. This one doesn't work quite the same because we have so much more slack in this area here. Now if we took the film and we stretched the hell out of it across here, it's going to hug in this corner more, and it's going to make it really nice, but you don't want to stretch the film that much because first of all, this is chrome. Second of all, you just don't need to do that. It's excessive. Not when we can make a nice cut and fold and it will be fine. And it won't look bad at all. I'm going to go up in there a little bit. I'm going to trim off some of this so I can put some relief. Right around there. Now I've got relief. Work out the wrinkles a little bit better on the underside. Make sure we're getting in on the underside because it will probably show with the taillight, all right? Even when the taillight's in there. I know the Camaro does. There's a nice back edge to cut on there. And that's where we're cutting. So now, we have two of these corners right here. We can do a cut and a fold, all right? Cut somewhere in the middle, and we fold. We're gonna start with the bottom. All right, somebody's happy. Heard that laugh out there. We start with the bottom, then I go to the top. And because the metal is kind of inconsistent under here, it's not very smooth, you don't notice the fold at all. Unless the fold shows on the top side. So as long as you're bringing it down far enough, you're good. So I'm just going to show you. Get some of that in there. So now, let me just trim out some of the excess film. Now you can see that all the inconsistencies that are there, it's a little dark and shaded. Come on that side, yeah. All the inconsistencies that are there are just the metal itself. You can't even really actually see the cut in the fold. If you come from the top and angle it downwards, you're not going to see it. All right, so let's work the rest of this in. I'm going to go over this with a bit of heat, make sure everything's tight, and then let's work the rest of this in. All right, that's my squeegee. It's a little bit difficult to see. Give me 1 second. I'm actually going to cut and fold this corner also, okay? Mainly because this is chrome. It's a little bit harder to use. And it's going to come out cleaner by doing that. Get that around. All right. Good. I'm going to trim off some of that excess. And we're good. Push down on it, and we're good. All right. So, you can close the trunk. Didn't lock. It's closed, all out of the way. We can cut out the gas cap area. I'm going to add a little bit of heat to it just to get the edges curled around a little bit before I do any cutting. Come around here. I'm going to leave about 1 inch or so. I don't have to worry about cutting anything here really because it's all plastic stuff, rubbery. Just if you graze it, it's not a big deal. If you cut deep into it, yeah, that's a big deal. I'm going to go in up to the edge of the rubber seal. You can completely remove this piece, that rubber seal, if you want. It's not necessary always, especially on the fact that we're wrapping a black car. I'm gonna hold that out and just put a little tension on it so it's wrinkle free. A lot of tension around the top, so I need to put a relief cut. There we go. Now what I want to do is just trim as close to the seal as I can. I'm just trying to keep this line really straight. a squeegee. Push that. You can actually tuck underneath the rubber seal afterwards. It does lift up a little bit. There we go. Spots. My blade is facing the seal and not the paint. Okay. You can tuck that little bit underneath there afterwards. Just gonna go over it with some heat. This is the gas tank, so don't heat it too much. Be careful. All right, now that that's done, we can finish up all this. This is always probably my most dreaded part of doing the quarter panel, is cutting around this window and just tucking it in and stuff. It's really, really tedious. So you just gotta be patient. This is one part you don't want to screw up, all right? So I know that I can tuck it in up until about that corner there. I'm gonna grab a triangle. All right. Triangle. You get it under slightly. I'm gonna start tucking this in. Try not to slip with the triangle, you might damage this on top of that. So over out here it's a little bit easier, it's a little bit softer, it becomes a little bit more pliable. I'm talking about the window trim. So it becomes a lot easier to tuck under, but also keep in mind that if you put too much force on it, you're gonna bend the window trim. So we gotta be careful that we're not putting too much force on it, just use what you need. And that's about it, all right? I'm going to kind of come up and around a little bit. Just get that in there. All right. Now that we have that, like I said, I don't want to tuck it in all the way across the top because I know that it's going to shift. And like I said, it's just very common on a lot of cars. Even frameless doors, they don't have the frame around the window, and everything just opens up like a Mercedes. Even the doors will shift because they're not mounted. They're on brackets. They're not a part of the entire car itself. Just using the triangle to get in there really nicely. For one little final pass. And then you take the blade and we start from one end and go to the next. So what I'm going to do is get a fresh blade, get rid of that. A fresh blade will make this a lot easier. So I'm going to do this in one pass. If you guys are worried about cutting it right there, I suggest tucking it in. It's just that it will probably twist a little bit and it won't look so pretty, but you won't mess this up, at least. So the sharp blade helps make this really easy. Come around here, sorry, I'm just gonna come down here. And we're good. All we need to do is just go over it a little bit. All right. Got a little excess right around here, just a hair. I'm going to trim it off. A little bit here. Push a little bit in there. So there's some excess here that I just couldn't trim off. There's a little bit here. I'm going to trim that off right now. Perfect. It's fantastic. A little piece on the bottom here and then we're done. That was a lot of fun, guys. I gotta say, love it. Extremely challenging, but once you get it, and this will be easier when you're not using chrome. But once you get it, you're happy, you succeeded. It might take you a try or two, but you'll be fine. Just keep at it, all right? Let's get some of this tape off so we can kind of see what it looks like, and that's it. Anyone's interested in what tape I'm using, it's just blue painter's tape. It's nothing fancy. I buy it as many rolls as I can in one shot or in one package, and that's it, all right? Now, if you guys want to check this guy's car out too, there he is on his Instagram. So check it out, because he's got lots of wicked pictures of it being in black, and now it's going to be in a whole brand new color. Anyways, we can go over the panel. We have no hazing, no creasing, no marks, no dings, no nothing. So as aggressively as I did treat that film, we can see that it turned out great. And if it were a gloss chrome, I'm not really even sure how good it would turn out, but it turned out great. So I would have been a little more gentle if it was something else, and like I said, I've been getting used to how it feels. So I know that I can push this film a little bit further than the other gloss chromes that we've been using, or satin chromes. If you guys enjoyed this video, please hit subscribe. There's going to be a bunch more coming up, especially the bumpers. I know everyone's interested in doing that. The trunk, which we're going to do in one piece for the top, and then a separate piece for the bottom, because it is two pieces. And the mirrors, door handles, roof, that kind of stuff. Anyways, thanks everyone. Take care.